That was amazing.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to listen to you. I have many questions, and I think people who are watching, they're gonna have the same questions in their mind. So it would just allow everybody to just go deeper and learn more about what you just played. So let me just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
You're from Syria.
Yes.
And normally the instrument that comes to mind when you think about Syria is the oud.
Yeah.
Is the instrument something that is more known, but you're playing clarinet, like something that is very in an orchestra. In Western music, it's very well defined. So let us know, like, first of all, when did you start, and what made you go and choose clarinet as your main instrument?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if maybe that mic
Bring the
also.
mic closer.
That's true. That would be. Thank you.
So the first thing, I want to say good evening. I'm so glad to be here. I love everything. I love the decoration. I'm enjoying it's so give me specific feeling to generate these ideas, which is all improvisation, you know. So the beginning, I start with the clarinet in 2010. I was listening for a Turkish musician, clarinet player. He's a big player. His name Hosnu Şulandıracak. He was playing beautiful music on a wind instrument, which is not ney, which is the typical wind instrument for Syrian people or Middle Eastern people in general. I fall in love with the sound, and I said, what is that? And after searching, asking some big musicians, it's a clarinet. I said, okay, what is the clarinet? It's a wind instrument, playing jazz, classical, but I was in love with the Middle Eastern sound. I bought my first clarinet, but the clarinet knowledge or culture in my country was so limited. Just 3 or 4 people playing the clarinet, and they were based in Damascus, the capital, and I'm from a small village in the middle of Syria. So expensive to take lessons, and they teach classical music. No one teaches Middle Eastern clarinet. So I bought the instrument, and then I moved to Aleppo to study economics, and she was my friend, and start discovering the YouTube, learning more. There's no teacher, so I was self-taught for 10 years, and I fall in love with the sound. So the sound of the clarinet, I'm gonna say that in a general idea, wind instruments, it has special relationship with the player because you blow your soul through your instrument. So it's a tool of expressions. So you express what you want to talk through your instrument. You blow inside it, and that's the big part of why I choose the clarinet. I tried it was so hard in the beginning, as any instrument, you know. And they're like, oh my God, this instrument make the way very short for me. I can say what I want through the instrument. I don't have to talk a lot, and that's it.
That sounds beautiful. Actually, I really because santur is one of the instruments that your body doesn't touch the instruments.
Yeah.
But clarinet or ney or all these other instruments, most of the instruments, your body is connected. But when you're actually blowing in it and touching it, so it's way easier to transfer your feeling. And one of the things with santur is that in order to transfer your emotions, you have to really work on some tricks on how can you transfer, because that's one of the rare instruments you cannot touch. So I can really understand why you go for it, because that's really when all part of your body is connected with an instrument.
Exactly.
Is really it gives a lot of feeling to it. So my question is so that's exactly what you said. So clarinet is a Western instrument, and what was your training to be able to play these unique tune that you're playing, in this tonality, of this Middle Eastern melody, is there, if somebody wants to learn what you're playing, like what resources they have? Is there kind of like a Syrian music repertoire that you went through, or is it always mostly like listening and trying to mimicking? How did you learn to play like this?
That's a really good question. So, basically, there's no etudes for a Middle Eastern clarinet. So there's an etude for Turkish clarinet, which says you should play a Turkish clarinet, or we call it G clarinet. So, but we're talking about the technique, how to get the microtonal tones. And here I want to explain for the audience, as a Middle Eastern musician, we're coming from a Middle Eastern background. So we don't have, if we want to talk about piano, so we have C, and then we have C sharp, then we have D. So in microtonal music we have the notes between the C and C sharp, which is we call it microtonal, and it's not exist on clarinet. And you have to do a different mouth position to have it. So what I was doing, I was watching Greek player and Turkish player and Gypsy players. They were doing these like movement in their lips just to reduce the pitch of the tone. So it's so hard if you don't have enough Middle Eastern theory knowledge, because you have to know what note you should reduce. I can give a small example, like if we say like this is a major. So to play like similar scale, but in Middle Eastern music we call it rust. So you should reduce the third and the seventh. So it's gonna be. So this is the difference. And by the way, rust is a Persian scale, and it's mean straight, I think. So I was watching their players, and I was trying to copy Middle Eastern instrument by the clarinet, like violin, ney, which they have a continuous sound, like not like string instrument or what you use a pick, because it's hard to copy it. So you should something like close to the sound of the clarinet. So I was trying to copy violins, taksim or improvisation, and try to imitate the sound with my ear, which took almost 6 years to have a clear tone. And then the internet was more accessible, so you can connect with people, ask questions. But the beginning was on YouTube, watching players.
Yeah, I agree, because like audience should know that in Middle Eastern we have all those microtones, and like if I want to play normally, like I tune it to that specific microtone, so it would be easy for me to play that. But clarinet is not made for that, so it's really hard to be able to produce this tone. So you have to have a really good ear to be able to bring that up. So now my question is that, so like in Syria, the Syrian music, or maybe in Arab diaspora, so those musics that you have been influenced, you listen and you were playing. So let's say if you're playing oud, is there any kind of like a well-written repertoire for like Syrian music that people can follow, different modes, scales, so that that people can just go through? Is that something that you imitated and?
Yeah, it's the same like any Western instrument. It has etude, like a trumpet, piano. For Middle Eastern instrument like ney, oud, violin, qanun. Even if you look back in Iran for santur, etude, you're gonna find that, because it's a traditional instrument for the country. But the clarinet is stranger. So what do you play? And you know, like we have those policemen. So like Middle Eastern policemen musicians, they're like, what do you play? I say like, I play Middle Eastern clarinets. It's just ney. So it's not exist in the culture. So it's a start being in the Turkish culture 8 years ago. They start like teach it in music school, Armenia did the same too. I don't Greek not, but now we have, like, if you want to compare between 2010, we used to have 4 or 5 people playing a clarinet, which is 3 of them they play classic. With 2020, there's over a 15 player playing clarinet, which is like the numbers is increasing. So we don't know, like after 20-25 years, you're gonna find like Middle Eastern clarinet etude by someone. I hope it's gonna be me.
Hopefully, this is very beautiful. I want to ask about. So you went to University of Aleppo.
Yeah.
And you were living in Aleppo when
Yes.
there all the bombarding happening. So it was all over the news in Aleppo. So you needed to move to Damascus in 2016, following your music
Mhm.
career, before coming to Canada later that
Yeah.
year. So my question is that, like, how were you doing as a musician? You know, what kind of gigs you would play in that situations, and your life as a musician in that year in Damascus? You know, like, what is the life of a musicians that they can play? Where is the audience, and how did that work in that
Yeah.
period?
So let's go like one step back about Aleppo. So I was practicing in Aleppo, but it was limited gigs, or because it was really, in 2014, it was the most dangerous city in the world. And I was living there, which is horrible. And until now, I'm asking myself a question like how I was there, what I was doing there. So when I moved to Damascus, which is the capital, it was like so different. It's like day and night. Aleppo was full of darkness, bombing, people starving, under siege. Then I moved to Damascus. Damascus was like, you can feel the war, like there's a war here, but it's too far. You know, you feel like, okay, everything is expensive. You see military features everywhere, but you still have a nightlife. You still have the opera house. They hosting a concert. Some big names like big Lebanese singers, they come into Damascus. So then I start working in nightclubs, and to be honest, that was very helpful. The nightclub, like playing for people not really listening to you, it's a good stage to practice. So I was, it's Middle Eastern tune, and I have to play it on clarinet. So it was my real stage to show my practice results. So I was practicing a day and then go to stage playing, microtonals on stage. Then ask the keyboard player, does it sound good? Say, yeah, man. So Damascus was full of life. And Damascus led me to Beirut, and from Beirut to Cairo, and then I performed in different like Arabic countries. So Damascus until now, it's still full of concerts and music. Somehow.
That's a beautiful story to know. That's something that a lot of people don't know. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
So let's come back here right now. So now you came to Toronto. In these past 4 years, you have been really active. Obviously, you know, what you're producing with clarinet is so unique and it's very much needed. And we are lucky to live in Toronto that we have now access. You are here, you know, all these things that you cannot really find anywhere else. So you have been very busy. Right, not now. Obviously, everything is canceled. So I want to ask you about your different kind of music that you do. So as you are a very versatile musician, so you do solo, you studied commercial jazz in Humber, so you have a very different kind of style of music that you play. Recently, you had a project or a band called 14 Hours that you showcased here at the Small World Music Center. So on that's more like a fusion kind of music that you were doing. It was with bass, drum, keys, and for some track it has oud.
Yeah.
So my first question is that, first of all, like, why 14 Hours? What's the story of that? And also, what's the thought behind that that project? Is it gonna be a band? Is that something that you're working on it? Is it your music or covers? Like, what is the thought behind?
So let's talk about the band name. 14 hours, which is the duration of my journey from Damascus to Toronto. It took me 14 hours to land here. Some people say you came refugee. Some people say immigrant. But the real answer, like, it was a newborn for me. So everything changed. And from 2016, I'm a totally different person since I landed in Toronto. So I bring a lot of stuff, memories, good and bad. I bring a lot of music in my mind. And I try to mix it with my new lifestyle, my new Canadian values, my Western music knowledge. So that's why I choose the name 14 hours, because we all connected from where we come from. Like, I'm so proud to be Canadian, but I will never forget my roots, musically and culturally. So, and what's make me like a better person, like, I bring the good values from my back home and I try to mix it with my new good Canadian values to like generate a better person or better music or better behaviors towards anyone, towards the society too. So the music, and it's a good chance. I want to thank these beautiful musicians like Dimitri Batsilakis, Max Sennett, and Tyler Imond, which like until now, I'm surprised how amazing they are. Like, I bring a totally different kind of music with them. I say, guys, we're gonna transcribe this music and we're gonna play it. I say, yeah, man. They were so pro. I said, like, okay, we'd like to. They were thirsty to play something new. So then we put the music together. It was like famous song from Syria, from Turkey, from Greece, and we rearranged them on some Western harmony, jazz, time feel sometimes, and we perform it. And in Small World Music, we performed on Taste of the Middle East Festival. We performed it in the Mississauga Music Nights, and we perform it one more. I can't remember where's the fourth one. It's just 2 months ago.
Yes, I think for audience, if they want to check it out, it's already there. I have to search Majd Sekkar on Small World Music. There's a full version of it. It was really very beautiful. Yeah. So I want to also ask another question that I'm curious about. For like, as for you as a musician, where is your happy place in music as a musician? So you have like these different kind of places that you go. You play really solo, traditional. You play classical. You play jazz. You play fusion with the bands. Like, if you like, where are you more like you're personally enjoying? If you want to play and you choose like something for yourself and go and play.
That's a hard question, but I'm gonna give a small example. So same thing when you go for a trip. So it's a journey for me. So I enjoy the whole journey with the ideas. I don't think about specific place. So sometimes I enjoy playing like my authentic style, which is Middle Eastern. It took me to a good place because I'm playing authentic what I used to play. Then I play like a jazz lick or like jazz arpeggio. It makes me happy too, because show me my new personality, might choose me what I learned in the last 4 years. So I can't answer this question. I think I love both of them, but I will be so happy if I can mix them in like more advanced way. So what I'm aiming for is not playing one part Middle Eastern, one part jazz, one part classical. I want to make one style. It's like I shift between them, even without making the audience feel like, oh, he's changed. he's changing. Oh, he's playing jazz now. Oh, no, no, no. Like, make like this fusion style. That's gonna be like my cloud nine.
You're definitely on that path, Matt. I can say that. I want to finish with this, the last question that I have. You already have a couple of like singles or mostly like improvisations, which are actually very beautiful on Spotify. So I urge everybody who is listening that follow Majd music, because you can hear much more beautiful thing. And I guess a lot of us also don't know that supporting artists could be as easy as following their music. It's just very simple.
That's it.
Nothing should be financial.
That's it.
That's also one of the biggest thing for the artist. But you currently have like those singles improvisation, which are very beautiful on Spotify. But you have been recording with many other musicians as a guest musicians at Near East album with Sultan of Strings. But do you have any plan for your album or your music? Is that something that you are working on it or plan to do, or do you compose yourself, or what is your plan?
I'm working on my album now. I start composing and notating. It's took a lot of time, and I love this proverb. Someone said before, like, the perfection is the enemy of the done. So
Totally.
it could be better. You say like, it could be better. So, but I'm working on the album. I finished 2 pieces now, so I'm trying to find the correct time to record. But the ideas exist. I think I'm gonna launch my first single by the summer of 2021.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Majd. We're gonna have a 5 minutes break and a Santur solo, and then we're gonna do some improvisation together. I'm looking forward to play with you,
excited.
and we'll see what's gonna happen.
Okay, Brad.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
man. Thank you.